The world thought Wang Yibo would stay silent forever. But the day he finally spoke, without a helmet, without a mask, one name escaped his lips. Not as a rumor, not as a defense, but as a truth that rewrote everything. Xiao Zhan. Wang Yibo was never a man of explanations. The world learned to read him through motion, not confession, through the sharp precision of his dance, through the roar of engines on the racing track, through a gaze that felt distant, controlled, untouchable. Silence became his armor, and the public learned to project whatever story they wanted onto that silence. For years, questions followed him like shadows. Speculation grew louder than facts. Yet Wang Yibo remained unmoved, choosing restraint over reaction, composure over clarity, until one moment changed everything. There was no dramatic announcement, no carefully staged press conference, just a calm statement delivered with a steadiness that felt almost painful. He did not speak to defend himself. He did not speak to convince the world. He spoke because hiding had finally become heavier than truth. And when he spoke, he did not circle around the answer. He went straight to the center. "I chose Xiao Zhan," he said. In that instant, the world stopped guessing and began listening. What followed was not a spectacle. It was a confession stripped of performance. Wang Yibo did not describe love as fireworks or destiny. He described it as relief. With him, he said, "I don't have to be someone else." Those words carried more weight than any declaration of passion. Xiao Zhan, in Wang Yibo's life, was never an arrival with noise. He arrived with space. Space to breathe when expectations suffocated. Space to fail without judgment. Space to be ordinary in a life that demanded perfection. While the world demanded explanations, Xiao Zhan offered understanding. While cameras demanded performance, he offered quiet presence. Wang Yibo spoke of nights when exhaustion blurred his thoughts, when fame felt louder than joy, and of the one person who could sit beside him in silence and somehow make everything calmer. "He never forced me to talk," Wang Yibo admitted. "But with him, I always wanted to be honest." That was not romance designed for headlines. That was intimacy built in shadows. And it was already deeper than the world realized. Their love did not grow under applause. It grew in the margins of exhaustion, in pauses between breaths, in moments no camera ever captured. While the world only saw two names moving through parallel careers, what existed behind closed doors was far more fragile and far more real. Their schedules were unforgiving. Days blurred into nights. Weeks passed without certainty of the next meeting. There were moments when distance felt less like space and more like punishment. Moments when silence was not peaceful, but heavy. Wang Yibo admitted there were nights when he questioned everything. Not the love, but whether the world would ever allow it to exist without damage. Sometimes, he said quietly, "I wondered if wanting happiness like this was selfish." The pressure did not come from one place. It came from expectations, from responsibility, from the unspoken rule that love should never disrupt the image people have already purchased. And yet, every time doubt tightened its grip, Xiao Zhan did something extraordinary. He did nothing at all. He didn't argue. He didn't demand reassurance. He didn't ask Wang Yibo to be braver than he was ready to be. Instead, he stayed. "If one day you're tired," Xiao Zhan once told him, "we can stop. But don't stop because you're afraid." That sentence didn't echo loudly. It didn't demand an answer. It simply waited. And in that waiting, Wang Yibo learned something rare. Love doesn't need noise to survive. It needs patience. The decision to propose did not arrive with certainty. It arrived with clarity. There was no single dramatic scene, no perfect timing, just one ordinary night that changed everything. Wang Yibo came home drained, mentally, emotionally completely empty. The world outside felt chaotic. His thoughts louder than ever. And there, on the couch, he found Xiao Zhan asleep, the light still on, as if he had been waiting without wanting to admit it. In that moment, Wang Yibo imagined a future without him, not because he wanted to, but because fear forced the thought upon him. And for the first time, the fear was unbearable. Not fear of backlash, not fear of headlines, but but fear of returning to a life that felt lonelier than any criticism ever could. I realized then, Wang Yibo said, that delaying was more dangerous than choosing. The proposal was not an escape. It was responsibility. I don't want to make him a secret anymore, he admitted. Not because the world needs to know, but because he deserves not to be hidden. When he asked Xiao Zhan to walk forward with him, it wasn't a promise of ease. It was a promise of honesty. No guarantees, only commitment. And that was enough. When news of their marriage finally surfaced, the world reacted exactly as expected. Shock fractured timelines. Opinions collided. Noise returned, louder than ever. But Wang Yibo felt something unfamiliar. Peace. This marriage isn't about proving anything, he said. It's about finally choosing myself. He understood the cost. He did not deny the consequences. But for the first time, courage felt lighter than fear. Their wedding was not a spectacle. No broadcast. No performance of happiness. Just two people choosing each other. Consciously, deliberately, without apology. I married him, Wang Yibo said softly, because I want to grow old with someone who knows who I am, even when I forget myself. After the debates faded, after the world moved on to the next story, what remained was something quieter than validation, a life no longer delayed. Their love did not grow larger because it was seen. It grew calmer because it no longer had to hide. And maybe that is the most powerful ending of all. Not a love that demands understanding, but a love that finally allows itself to exist. So, what do you think, drama lovers? When silence breaks, does truth always arrive quietly? Stay tuned for more stories, only on K-Pop World.